So last week we spoke about Genesis 2:15 for Christian entrepreneurs and business owners, and we only got halfway through. We got as far as God put man in the garden to work, and then we stopped. And when we didn't stop, we kind of got like focused in on the work part. And we decided that this week we wanted to go and come back and talk about the last half of Genesis 2:15, which is the "and take care of it" part. And I often find with bits from the Bible, we end up as human beings focusing very heavily in on the first part of something and ignoring the next bit. In fact, in church yesterday morning, I was talking and I said, Jesus's first lesson from the cross was to forgive. But we actually go and forget the second part, which is because they don't know what they've done, right? And I think all too often, a lot of the answers we're looking for is actually in the subheading. It's not in the heading itself. And so today we're going to go and look at taking care of it. I've got my able genius with me, Edward Addison from Weight Loss with Edward. And Edward, you've been wrestling with this in your mind. When it comes to being a Christian entrepreneur or business owner, you're good at the work. What do you think about this taking care of it part? How does that play out in your business?
It's really interesting, actually. Before I probably before we were working together, the idea was that clients were to be squeezed of money because that's how you make money, that's how you have things. And that is completely the opposite of alignment with my Christian values. But I thought that business had to be, you take money from people and get richer. And so it was a little corner of my life that was going against my beliefs. And actually what we've worked on, I think you'd agree, what we've worked on is the more love and care you provide to everyone in your business, the more it grows. So that whether it's colleagues or people that are doing jobs for you or your clients, the more love and care that you show to them, the more the business grows. And it's not as transactional as trying to measure how many pounds or dollars you're making from someone. But in actual fact, in the love that you give, there are areas of magic, of God's work that just happen when you freely give love and care and truly care about the people that you're trying to help, and forget this old, I kind of think 1980s with suspenders on, kind of trying to steal their money. Is essentially that's a sort of scarcity thinking, I think. And I think that when you truly love as hard as you can, that's what I would kind of call care and love synonymous, sort of wanting the best for them, wanting them to be happy, wanting their day to be better in all ways. So as broadly as love means, I find that my business is a completely different creature. That I've went from scarcity thinking to abundancy. And it's not by squeezing more money from people, it's from giving more of me, of care, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that we often go and read something like Genesis 2:15, and we think that God's actually calling us to become a gardener, right? We should go and go plant vegetables, but actually we've all been placed by God into our business, right? That's what we've been called to do, into our journey, our entrepreneurship, whatever it is we're doing to work with people, or to sell products and services. And when you think about your business as a garden that needs to be tended for, it suggests all sorts of things, doesn't it? Gardens, like businesses, go through seasons. Spring, summer, winter, fall. Gardens, like businesses, need looking after as it goes in different ways with different focuses as you go through the seasons. But ultimately, the beneficiary of a beautiful garden is people. And the beneficiary of an incredible business is people. It wouldn't matter whether you're selling tennis rackets or weight loss coaching like you sell, Edward, or business coaching like I offer. It is still the beneficiary is people.
Yeah.
And I think we get very lost in the complexity of business without realizing the only real problem you actually have to solve is the tending of the people. If you have, if you look after your customers incredibly well, you will find more customers. If you even look after, and here's an interesting thing. What do you think about the concept of looking after the people that haven't yet started to work for you or haven't yet become a customer of yours? Surely that's part of the projecting ahead to the next season of the business.
Yes, yeah, and that's why I give guidance freely. I don't try and hold it to ransom for money. I try and, if someone gets in touch, I give them advice and guidance whether or not they're coming on board, because my driving force is to help people. And so this is what I mean by I'm trying to care for everyone who shows an interest in what I can help with in the world. And so they get the same information from me. They can't get the same support because it comes at a fee. That's just a reality. But I don't withhold love or care because they aren't paying me. I am giving it because I want to give it without the demand or expectation of the return. It's about giving the care. That's actually what I was going to ask you. How do you, where do you see care as the role in people who aren't yet with your business?
So, assuming the fact that we run an ethical business that is genuinely going to provide more in return to a customer than they believe they've paid. So they give us X and we give them XX. So they're actually making a purchasing investment of some sort. So assuming that and that we're actually going to legitimately solve problems for people and do right by them, so on and so forth. All those assumptions being in place, I think that tending to my garden of my business and the people within it, especially the future people, is actually what we're doing now. It's actually about marketing. It's actually about putting the problem that you solve and how good you are at solving it out there in the world, allowing more people to become aware of you or your business or your brand, allowing them to understand that they can identify with the problem, and then making them the offer of an opportunity to actually come and work with you. And I think that's often the missing part in most businesses, is we get so wrapped up in the product, in the customer service, the after the sale part of the business, that we don't actually spend enough time thinking about who are all those people that we're not bringing into the garden to enjoy the benefits of the garden, who would love to be here with us, who would benefit from being here with us, who would gain in every possible way. Who are those people, and how are we going to go and find more of them? Because in 9 out of 10 businesses that I go work in, as a professional performance and business coach who specializes in helping Christians and Christian business owners and Christian entrepreneurs, the problem that they face in their business is actually marketing and sales. And I think as Christians, we shy away from marketing and sales quite often because they've got a perception of being manipulative or overly persuasive, or getting people to take actions in their life that aren't beneficial for them, or they don't want to spend on. And I don't find that has to be true. Sure, if you go out there and listen to some sales gurus and some marketers, there is that aspect of sales and marketing. But generally speaking, God is good and God is great and God provides. And God is also quite good at not providing if we do the wrong things. And so I normally find that businesses that aggressively market something in a manipulative way that forces people or persuades people to go and make purchases for themselves of things that they don't want, don't need, don't like, can't really afford and put it on credit, I generally find that those businesses are quite short-lived in what it is they experience. Whereas what I find in business, and I've been performance coaching now as a professional in this context for 2 decades now, is I've still got clients from 10 and 15 years ago who are with me because I took them on a journey. I brought them into the business. I charged them something that was fair. I then explained to them, as they grow, I want to grow. I helped them, legitimately supported them to go and have more, be more, share more, be bigger in the world, be a bigger shining light of hope and joy and Christian values and so on and so forth. And that to them that's brought me customers that sustain me forever. I get to build something whole and sustainable, where Christians, we can have the big business without having to go and do sleazy sales or used car sales or manipulative marketing that's cheesy and overdone. But that still means we have to go back to the basics. And back to the basics for me is we have to tend for the garden in 2 ways. We have to tend to the garden for the people who are benefiting from the garden of our business today. We have to make that better. We have to up that level of service, that level of experience, that level of value, and we have to do significantly more. But then we also have to be really, really good at saying, hey, here's me. I'm over here. Please, if this is you, please come into the garden and please come and benefit from that. Because ultimately, we're doing people a disservice by not actually making that offer to them. Something that jumps to my mind is Proverbs 12:11. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but for those who chase fantasies have no sense. And when I think about Proverbs 12:11, what I actually wonder is how many of us are tending the land or looking after the garden in a fanciful way. We've got all the projections of what could be if only we had enough customers, and yet we haven't actually gone beyond the fantasy into the truth about my business will set me free, and looked at the reality of what is my plan and strategy that not might, but will get people to be interested in what I do, so to know I exist, to like what I do, to trust what I do, to actually say, yes, me, I want in. How do I work with you? How do I buy from you? How do I benefit from you? And so I'd encourage all of you to go and think about today, are you really taking care of your garden? Are you really stewarding it if you're not doing the part of encouraging people into the garden? And if that's you, well, it's as simple as this. The way to go and invite more people into the garden you've taken care of so well, maybe even bring them into work for you, is as simple as how many conversations can you have with how many new people every day of the week? That could be in a potentially 1 to millions basis like this. It's a bit risky. Nobody may ever watch this video. Somebody might do. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Or it could be as old school as talking to the person next to you in the queue for coffee in the morning and saying, hey, how are you? And telling them about what it is that you do. I help Christians grow their businesses and do it with a faith-first attitude and ensure that's always there. So what is it for you? Now, sadly, we've lost Edward at this point in time. No idea what's happened there. But Edward has benefited dramatically in his business from this over just this first few months of 2024 alone. He's added hundreds of new customers to his business by ensuring that he spends probably 30 to 40% of his working week focusing on all of those people out there who can benefit from what he offers and inviting them into his garden, He's grown, he's been able to offer more, love more, and more is coming back to him. And I just want to finish off with something from Matthew. Freely you have received, so freely give. And for me, we have received so much. We've received so much in the way of the gift of waking up every morning to go and run and build our business, grow, and have it as a source of income to feed our children or pay off our home or whatever else. But I want to ask, what is it that we're doing in terms of honoring the gift of the freely receiving, in terms of bringing more people in to go and grow what it is we've freely received? If this has been of any interest to you, these are just my views and thoughts and opinions on what it is I read in the same beautiful book that you have to read as well. And my job here is to relate it to the principle of growing business in his name. If this is any interest to you, please hit subscribe, please hit like, please put a comment. I'd love to read what your version of events is for what is I've spoken about as well. I'm here to learn as much as you. And if you benefit from a business coach or at least a conversation about growing a business at some point in time, putting your faith first, reach out to me and let's have a chat. Thanks for being here today. God bless.